Blog Talk Radio.
I've passed 3 certification exams using IT Pro TV, and I'm taking my 4th on Monday. I love you guys.
You guys are great. I've passed the Microsoft 7410 and the first Cisco CCNA exam because of your videos, and I plan on doing the same with 7411 and the second Cisco CCNA exam.
You guys are doing an outstanding job. Keep up the great work. Thank you for making complex technical topics easily understandable.
Thank you for bringing fun back to learning IT-related topics.
These are real quotes from actual IT Pro TV members. I'm Don Pizzette, one of the trainers here at IT Pro TV, and I'd love to show you how we can impact your life too. Whether you're looking to advance your career with new IT certifications or simply want to stay up to date on the latest in the world of technology, we've got you covered. Check out itpro.tv/blogtalk to upgrade your brain with the most popular IT certifications. Try it free for 7 days when you sign up with our code ITPRO30 to check out our courses, live stream, and more. You'll also receive 30% off the lifetime of your account. That's itpro.tv/blogtalk.
Good evening and welcome to Body and Soul Awareness with Stephanie and Oxana.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
Hi, guys. Okay, so tonight is going to be really interesting. We have a lot of fun stuff to talk about and a really cool, exciting guest speaker. So our topic is going to be all about connections, relationships, interpersonal relationships, romantic relationships, relationships with ourselves, relationships with your family, friends,
kids, family.
Right. Because anybody that you interact with, ultimately you have a relationship with them in some way, shape, or form.
So our life, actually, the core of our life is connections. So it's a very broad topic, and believe it or not, when we decided to switch from our original topic for tonight, I had to give a moment to myself and think about it, and I knew that it's going to be an amazing show, but I knew that it's such a broad topic that it's complex because, life is interaction and connection and relationships amongst everyone. So, and we affect each other all the time. So.
And that's how we learn all of our lessons, because everybody that comes in contact with you in your life is a mirror reflection of something that you need to look at in your life.
Exactly. So, so this is, that's what we're going to be talking about today, and we have an amazing guest that will be also going into depth of it, the way she approaches this topic. So.
Yeah, and she'll be joining us about 10 minutes from now. Mm-hmm. So I guess it's a good time to go over the homework for last week.
Yes. So let's see. The way it's planned out for me is the week's been very interesting, and like I mentioned earlier, we were going to talk about something else today, but switched because everything was pointing out into this topic. Mm-hmm. I've been contacted by 3 of my good friends. They're going through some changes in their life, which is personal changes in their relationships. Yeah. And my whole week was kind of going into that energy and talking to them and feeling it. And so my kind of go-to spot was music when I was driving to work, my office and back. I would find myself kind of, going into the thoughts of relationships and how everything interacts and how it depends on what we are inside internally to, let's snap out of it and go into my little zone and music and relax and take, all those thoughts away from my head. So that was my kind of way of finding my balance and harmony during this past week that kind of got, changed around because of the circumstances of what came about. So, music was for me,
It definitely seems like there's something in the water, though, because everyone that I talk to is going through a relationship crisis or issue, whatever you want to call it, right now. And I really think it seems like things that aren't stable are being shaken up to show you that it's not stable and that it's not what you need so you can move forward.
Absolutely.
Empowered within yourself. So I think that's really cool and important. But anyways, it was really neat because I had gotten a call from someone that wanted to talk about relationships, and then I called Oxana, and Oxana told me about all the people that called her, and then we decided, hey, we need to definitely switch topics.
Yeah, something is up.
Exactly. So it's been a really interesting week. But we're here to give you some insight and hopefully help you with some relationship issues you may have. Anyways, I just want to remind everyone that you can chat with us live at www.freedomizerradio.com. That's Freedomizerradio.com. And then if you want to call in to chat with us live, the number is 347-324-3704, and you can just listen there, or you can also, if you want to chat with us, hit 1 so we know that you want to get on the line. Just wanted to give you that information. So definitely make sure you call us and chat with us during the show.
Great. So what else I wanted to add to the conversation about our homework is, homework, but at the same time, relationship, because my focus already started going into that topic.
Right.
I was watching Vikings the other night.
Oh, yum.
Trying to kind of get my relaxed time in. And I got to the moment where Ragnar created an illegitimate child with another woman.
He did. I was so mad at him for that.
I was...
I love Larga. Like, how could you, Ragnar? How could you?
So, and it's the time where, the other woman comes in and says, okay, we've got a child together, and his wife decides to leave him. So it was a very sad moment, but such, care and love between these two people, but it's kind of an example how you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Right.
So in that being said, you are only healthy, or you are much more healthier if you are grounded in your own self.
Right.
If you
if
you have your relationship with you to begin with, you are stable within yourself. And because life will, it will present what you ask. And sometimes it will present with harsh realities of somebody leaving you or dying or any of those situations where we feel the most struggle. Yeah. So, and if you have your grounding, your knowing within yourself, then your life will be going.
It makes it a lot easier to deal with.
Right, yeah.
Your perspective changes on life, I think. It's up with break your heart and drag you down, but if you're grounded in yourself, you can literally look at the situation from the outside, and it's kind of like I was talking about on the show that I had this past week. The detox show was literally, if you are so strong in yourself that nothing can shake you. And I'm not saying nothing hurts, and I'm not saying you don't have emotion. I'm not saying that there's not a lot of thoughts of hitting somebody in the face with a brick behind that, but you can breathe through it, and you can realize that everything happens for a reason. Like, why did this situation happen that made me look at the relationship that I was in? Because a lot of times you don't look at it until something really terrible happens. So
exactly. If it goes smoothly, it's all good. Well, I guess the point is everyone knows that stuff will happen, issues will come up during relationship. But the second step is, what do you do about it?
Yeah.
Like how do you approach the challenges?
You just focus on yourself.
And that's kind of the point.
Grow, be the best person that you can possibly be every day.
Yeah, because your relationship with yourself will create extensions of the other relationships you create, because it's all extension of your energy.
Right.
So going back to, fixing, if you want to fix a relationship with someone else, you've got to fix yourself, your relationship with yourself first, and the knowledge that comes from it will give you that ability to work with others.
Right.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then I think definitely it's good to mention that once you do reach a certain level within yourself, then you'll start attracting the right people.
For you.
When you start to break patterns of things that no longer serve you, and you start to grow, then you will start to attract this community of amazing people that are like-minded, and you can work together in community.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's creating a next step, family and expand. Yeah,
exactly.
Pretty much.
But family you pick, though. Yeah. Well, not to say that you didn't pick your original family because you had to learn lessons from them, but you know what I mean.
Consciously you choose. Yeah, you make a choice, conscious choice, not just choice that is given by gene.
Exactly.
Preset, some sort of way.
Yeah, which we'll be talking about that in another show.
That's another interesting topic to discuss.
Yes, definitely. So, all right.
We want to talk about Cherie?
Yeah, I think now is a great time. Let me give you a little bit of background on our special guest. Her name is Cherie Young. Cherie is a native of Washington, D.C., and she's been serving the area for about 15 years. She is what we call a masterful healer and teacher of Intra-Dimensional Web Working. She stands in the unbroken lineage of 25 generations of Mexican Curanderos, descendants of the Mayan Regime called the Toltec. These teachings have been handed down through the auric field from ancestral master healers. Intra-dimensional web working is a form of spiritual psychic surgery. It is a channeled, reawakened gift from the people of Earth at this time of frenzied change. Web working is a holistic means of working with the subtle bodies surrounding the physical body. Intradimensional healing affects our multidimensional selves on a physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual levels. Cherie teaches workshops and leads events internationally and here in the U.S., and she's also available for one-on-one sessions in person and also via Skype phone sessions, because for intradimensional healing, there is no such place as far away. So I just want to let everybody know that Cherie will be on in 1 second, and I wanted to give you the guest call-in number again, because she's going to be giving a complimentary phone healing to anyone that calls in tonight. So the number again is 347-324-3704. I just want to make sure you write that down so you can give her a call and get some free healing. Who doesn't need that?
Well, and if you just have questions too that you're curious about, you can just call in if,
Oh, yeah.
Simple questions or healing or any of that.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Can cover it.
So do you want to tell us how you met Cherie?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So it's been a while. I've met Cherie probably about 7 years ago. So I had a session done with Cherie, and mainly it was going back into my childhood and observing certain things and patterns and making pretty much conscious decisions from the knowledge I've received. I also received the energy work as well that contributed to the session. But I found it very interesting. She definitely has an amazing presence, a loving heart, and I believe she does, one of her focuses are connections and relationships, and I had a great time, and I kept, and it's amazing because when I started receiving calls and started in contact with my friends this week, I've immediately in my head, for some reason, her name came up, and I thought, okay, she's the person that, deals with emotional body and get people out of the, introduces them to their shadows and cleans it out in her way, because I operate differently when I approach myself and my shadowing. Everyone has their own healing way. I certainly have my own, and her way is the way, she helps others. So I always say, there's so many ways for reawakening, for healing, for connecting.
There's not just one right way. That's why there's so many of them out there.
There's so many ways, and it's just simply what will work for you, because they all work. But what will work for you is
But they only work if you are doing the work. It can't just be a healer doing the work on you. You're actually doing the work yourself. They're just assisting you in your own healing.
Healers are like tools. Yeah, they know the knowledge. They know how energy operates, and they just pretty much guide you to heal you yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah,
which is what it ultimately comes down to, you regaining your own personal power. Okay?
Exactly.
Well, Cherie's on the line, so we're gonna welcome her on.
Hi, how are you?
Here.
Hey, Oxana, Stephanie, how are you doing this evening? Thank you for having
Cherie.
me.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear us?
Can
you hear us?
You had. Now I can.
Okay, great.
I think that you had a wonderful point when you said the healer doesn't do it by herself. It is definitely the person who heals themselves, and we are just facilitators of that healing. The work is so important. If you don't do the work, the healing isn't going to stick.
Right.
So, is the topic, I understand, is personal relationship tonight?
Yes, the title tonight is The Mystery of Human Connections, a.k.a. relationships.
Oh, my. Oh, that's not broad at all.
We definitely speak of all connections. It's all open because, everything is interconnected. So it can be any connections, but romantic connections, always are the most dramatic.
Right. There's romantic relationships, your relationship with yourself.
Yeah, that's where it starts.
Right, relationships with your friends even. So that's the topic. Maybe could you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Well, I can describe what I do. It's called Intra-Dimensional Web Working, and it's beautiful because what you're saying is exactly just that. We are all connected, and the way we describe it is through webbing. So if you were to imagine that all of us are more than meets the eye, we do not end at our fingertips. The healing goes through the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies. So we are, in fact, multidimensional beings. And so I heard Oxana speaking of the shadow, and this is one of the things that I think is so important, especially in relationship with oneself, is to understand that we are light and dark beings. And most of us were taught from a very tiny stage of life that we were not to be angry, that we were not to be afraid, that we were not to cry. And all of these emotions, which are part of your emotional body, had to go somewhere, right? We had to store that somewhere. Energy doesn't cease. It just changes form. So into the closet where nobody can see and where we're afraid to admit go all of these quote-unquote sins or things that we can't grapple with yet. And so eventually we call this the shadow self. And it isn't a horrible thing. It's not like we're part evil. It's simply things that we are unable to accept about ourselves. And so once we do claim our shadow and we are able to, in some small way, bring the sunshine of our mind's eye to the shadow self, oh my goodness, then the healing can begin.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
I did have a question just for people that are listening that might not know what multidimensional selves are. What does that mean?
Okay. So we are more than just skin, blood, skeletons. We have emotional bodies, we have mental bodies, right? And we have spiritual bodies. And just, for the purpose of the show, we're separating them to be practical. Obviously, it's all one. We're all one.
Right.
The way I like to describe the webbing is almost as though it's like looking at music. We are magnetic beings, and all of these energetic bodies are literally coming from our energy centers. And they're literally, it looks like webbing if you were to look at it with a psychic eye. And the webbing is magnetic. So let's say that you had or someone had an emotional traumatic experience when they were a child, and their webbing became injured. Well, now they go out into the world, and because of this trauma to their webbing, they're magnetically attracting the same pattern. The same. They don't know it. It's unconscious, and it's in their webbing, so they don't understand why the same thing keeps happening to them. I've had clients with, that need reconstruction and repair and just re-education about how they're lovable or how they actually are incredibly intelligent, because maybe they got misguided when they were younger, and the trauma made the injury so deep that they came to me, and we were able to actually heal it, repair the webbing, and they also participated in this work. And then they were able to move on in their lives and create healthy workplace, healthy relationship.
Mm-hmm. Right. So that seems like it'd be something really good to give you a basis to where you can start working on good relationships.
Right.
So,
exactly.
Yeah, can you explain how that would work when it does come to relationships and patterning when it comes to relationships?
Sure,
and
sure.
I say relationships right now. I'm saying romantic relationships because, again, that has been the theme of the week.
Okay, absolutely. Yes, let's focus on, say, a romantic relationship. So we all have been introduced, depending on our introduction to love, by our original tribe experience. You can also be influenced by past lives. But let's just keep it in the 3D. Let's say that you grew up in a home where mom and dad loved each other, but they didn't really talk about it, and they never touched each other. And they never said it, let's just say. And then you grow up, and then you're attracted to a relationship or a man or a woman who responds in that same way. And you're in that relationship, and you're not happy, and you don't understand why. Because your needs may be completely different than your mother and father's needs, right? But your modeling, you kind of adopted the webbing of your parents' model, which is not you at all.
Right.
And so then you have to discover, oh, wait a minute. You mean it's okay to want more than just a dinner conversation from my partner? It's okay that, we can actually hold hands in public, and that's okay to ask for. And this is really how we live our lives. There's a little tiny voice in our head that has an agreement unconsciously that this is not okay to ask for. This is too much, And so we kind of get caught up in that judge in our mind's eye that we have heard for so long, we hardly even know it's there. But it's there, and it's informing us all the time, and then we walk around going, why am I not happy? So part of the breakout pattern would be to actually, I often give homework. I often say, if you could have anything in your relationship, ideally, get a piece of paper and just write it out. What would that look like? And just allow yourself to want anything. Anything's possible. And so many of us don't understand that we're not aware that we can't even ask for it because we don't even know we want that. It's like this glorious exploration.
Right.
And then,
I stress about
and
everyone's going back to their core, who they are, what they want, or what they don't.
Exactly.
Detach from one
this is
area. That place already.
That's exactly right. Stephanie, you're on it because we don't know who we are. Quite honestly, it is a glorious hunt, and it's like being a warrior, and you're searching for yourself. When people come to me and they say, "Oh, I've been in this relationship, and I'm so miserable, and they're miserable. I don't know what to do." I usually start at basis one. Well, what do you want? And that is the most difficult question, is it not?
Right.
Because we really don't know what we want, because we don't know that it's okay to want something. We are so afraid that we're going to lose what we have, even if it's miserable. We're afraid to want more. So until we really begin to discover who we are, which is an exploration, nobody has to know. Even if you're a mature person, let's say you've had a divorce and you're 65, you're still asking yourself, what do I like? I've never taken an art class before. What if I wear all purple today? I mean, a lot of us, we limit what we do and say only because of other people's opinions of what that might look like.
Yes, it's the limited structure of our pretty much existence here.
Yeah. I mean, it's so important. Like, obviously you don't want to do anything intentionally to hurt someone, but it's really important that you take the time to make sure that you're doing the things that you need for yourself to better yourself.
If everyone is acting from their heart, no one will hurt anyone.
That's true.
It's communication.
Well, I mean, not necessarily, because, prime example, I had a friend, she had a baby shower, and it was really important to her that I be there. Unfortunately, I was sick. I was really sick, and I wasn't able to come. Now, even though she understood that I couldn't come because I was sick, she was still upset that I wasn't there, and that's because she was looking at it from her perception, and that's okay because that's her perception. Now, again, like I said, my choice not to come and to stay home and get rest was a really, really important thing that I did. So I had to make that decision. So I wasn't intentionally hurting her.
But it was her choice to get upset or not.
It was.
Whether she's accepting that.
I mean, and that's fine. But I'm just saying from me. I'm not saying from anybody else. I'm saying from my perspective, I had to do what I had to do.
Well, but
I'm sorry. And I agree with both of you. The thing about feelings is they're not wrong or right. They're just feelings. They come and they go, and we have them. And not getting attached to them is often tricky.
And you have to understand where they're coming from.
Right.
That's what people don't understand, and they get confused and hurt and continue.
Well, actually, I understand what you're saying, and I respectfully just want to explore also that feelings are just feelings. She can be disappointed. She can be hurt. These are things she can do. This is her right as a human being. She can even understand that her friend is absolutely sick and still be disappointed. And that's because she's human. It's not that she wishes ill on her friend. She just is very disappointed. So the two rights can mutually exist, is what I'm saying. And in the ideal scenario, she will, of course, move on to remember that is not your relationship in its whole. That was one event that was unfortunate, right? And so she can move on and say, it's been a week. I'm sorry I was so disappointed, but I get it, and I still love you, of course,
Exactly. And then we move on.
having those feelings and expressing them is actually pretty important, as long as you're not creating karma. As long as we're not, like you said, intentionally trying to hurt someone, then we have an issue, because that just keeps the wheel of karma running. So we hope that, we remain human and honor our feelings without impeding on someone else's right to be happy and to choose to do the right thing for them, which it was the right thing for you to do, by the way, to stay and have some rest.
Exactly. And listen to my body.
And listen to your body.
Exactly. Well, Cherie, we have to go to a commercial break. So if we can have you on the line, just hold on for 1 second and we'll be right back, okay?
Sure thing. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Freedomizer Radio, where we have a 24/7 chat room where you can come and share what's going on in the world with people of like mind. Anything and everything against the New World Order. Dial 347-324-3704 to catch our live shows. Beginning at 9 in the morning Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Friday till midnight, and 9 to 9 on Saturday and Sunday. Take us to the beach. Take us to the park. Take us on a walk with the dog. Only on Freedomizer Radio.
Did you know most Americans know nothing or very little about the legal system? I am the Rose Colombo, longtime legal activist, legal coach, legal advocate, and the author of Fight Back Legal Abuse, Irwin Award winner, and also my latest political satire, Obamacare, Dinosaurs, Rednecks, and Radicals, a political satire exposing the evil agendas of Obamacare and redistribution of wealth that leaves you with a thought-provoking ending. Will mankind survive, or will the U.S. natural-born citizens become extinct? It's available at Amazon.com. You can also visit my website at www.fightbacklegalabuse.com for more information. So order your copy today and empower yourself with the knowledge before injustices come knocking on your back door unexpectedly.
I like the way you grow it, no pesticide. I got to box it up. I like the way you grow it, so locally. I got to box it up. I like the way you grow it with no GMOs. I like the way you twerk it, no doubt.
We've got squash and peas, pollinator bags for all your bees. Melons you wanna squeeze. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Hey, now that plant looks good. I want to grow it. I want to taste it. Yeah. Tomatoes in full effect. Always in full effect. My girl Tilly's in full effect. Yeah. Peaceful Belly Plant Sale 2014. Yeah.
Search YouTube for Freaks of the Garden. PeacefulBelly.com. Support your local organic farmer.
back on the line. Hello, Cherie, are you there?
Hi, yes, I am. How are you again?
Good. Okay, so we were just wondering, from your perspective, how is it that you break patterns? Now, I know for me personally, it was first recognizing that there even was a pattern, and then I had to learn and kind of go from there. But just from your perspective, what would you say people need to start doing to even recognize they have a pattern?
Well, that's an excellent question. So if someone is repeatedly finding themselves in a similar relationship over and over again, then the awareness eventually, comes to them. And you're right, awareness is the first step. You have to be aware. And quite often, people are not aware, and they come, and they're like, well, this relationship is really good on these terms, but on these terms, I'm having a lot of difficulty. And if and if I'm looking at them, I often will intuitively see what the heck is going on, and so I'll offer, hey, I wonder if this is familiar to you, and who would have been the first person in your life to have made you feel this way, quote unquote, because no one makes you feel anything. And, oh, that's right, yes, I remember my first relationship was when I was, blah, 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 blah. So it's kind of like opening up the storybook of your life and claiming it, and just claiming it and looking at it from a perspective of, I see now, this started a long time ago, now what do we do about it, right? That's a good question. What do you do about it? So the first thing that I would ask them to do is to ask themselves, what is it about the situation that is causing them conflict? And then they would describe it to you. Well, it really makes me so sad when he just gets quiet and goes away from me. And then we ask a few more questions. And quite often then it would be, well, the reason it makes this person sad is because, their first relationship just abandoned them. They never wrote a letter. They didn't say hello, goodbye. They just left. And so the fear is that that's going to happen again. That's going to repeat. So as soon as we see anything with fear attached to it, there is only one solution to fear, and that is a confront. Okay? There's no hiding. There's no analyzing it out. Let's, go to the doctor and talk about this for 3 years. You in my tradition, you look at it and you take it head on. So when your partner begins to recede, you need to pop the drama and ask a brave question. Are you coming back? And it seems like a really stupid question to some people, but guess what? It breaks the pattern, because now you're brave enough to say, this is my fear, and you have to attend to it now, right? And so the partner has to turn and go, what? Yeah, I'm just going to go change the channel, or I'm just going to 7-Eleven. I'll be right back. And then you have to have that person, and say, here's what I go through when you pull away from me and you don't talk. There's a little person inside me that says, you're never coming back. And then the partner's like, what? How can I help you with this? Should be the next thing out of the partner's mouth. Okay? And so between you and your partner, you begin to simply have a dialogue that attends to your emotional body. So it's not swept under the rug. It's not, oh, that's just stupid. You're just being sensitive. If your partner cares about your emotional life, which I highly recommend they do, then they are going to attend to you because they want you to feel safe, right? Because safety and trust is an intricate part of a romantic relationship. You really cannot be happy without safety and trust in this relationship that we're talking about. So those are steps you can take. Very simple, and it's like a fire walk for a lot of people, because if it's a fear that's been festering for many, many years, there's also a fear that you're going to be ridiculed for that, or, ostracized, or your partner's going to call you stupid. And so you need to have that conversation with that partner. And I trust that your partner, whoever that is, also has some issues, that you or the other person can assist him with in terms of breaking a pattern and restarting the relationship, so that the two of you together are in caretaking of your emotional bodies and not just running each other over.
Right. It's actually being a team instead of two teams, right? Is understanding that we, everyone has their shadowing, and if you would help assist another to go through that and vice versa, then it might be a different relationship altogether.
Absolutely. Yes, you are absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. And if these two people are absolutely committed to the relationship and to the love that they want to have with each other in that dynamic, then they're going to be committed to figuring out what kind of dialogue, what kind of how can I help you with this? What can we do? Well, every time that you go away, could you just tell me, you know what, I'm going to be right back, and this is what I'm doing, Or if you get mad or have an argument, instead of the silent treatment, say, you know what, I just need some time. I love you, but I need some time. And so each space is respected, and yet there's a spoken truth, so that person can be at ease that, it's just that they need some time,
Right. And I guess we are all, the same. We all have our challenges, but it's that communication typically that is missing. And for me personally, in regard to, I believe life can present anything. I think everything is possible. But it's kind of how people communicate with each other. Sometimes, the truth is harsh, but the person, is not, like we were talking about, facing that fear, because a lot of people are afraid of facing, either rejection or even confrontation or some other.
Absolutely.
So if you face that, it doesn't kill you.
Yes, and this is where the real work is. The real work is being aware that you, A, are able to claim that about yourself, and then B, that you're brave enough to have that conversation, to say, hey, I know it sounds crazy, but when you say this is what I go through, and that takes a lot of trust in and of itself. But I'll tell you what, it opens up new worlds. Just what you were saying, anything is possible. The happiest people are free people. When we were children at 2, if we had a safe environment, we were happy people. We didn't live in the future, in the past. We just played, and we didn't worry about. Yeah,
that's why everyone loves happy people. I mean, happy babies.
Happy babies, because we're like, oh my gosh, I remember being carefree. So that's the other thing, is being able to have the freedom to be with someone who is okay with you being who you are. Just the freedom of that, So that freedom. What I always say, and I've attended classes that were actually called soulmate magnet, right? Because people who are in transition, and they're really looking for that soulmate person. And so there was an energetic spiritual class, and I totally wanted to go to that class to learn about this.
Mm-hmm.
And the top of the theme is to actually fall in love with yourself first. Right? So if you're someone who really loves fresh flowers, buy yourself some flowers, If you're someone who really loves a fancy dinner, make it a point to take yourself out to dinner, dress up, order what you really would like to order. And it doesn't have to be expensive. you could also maybe like a walk on the beach or maybe a massage. Instead of waiting for someone to throw bouquets at you, actually become that person who you're in love with.
You
that
pretty much
actually
getting comfortable with yourself. You fully...
Very healing, yes. It's in caretaking of yourself and figuring out what it is that really makes you happy. And then you're exuding this happiness and this love. Every time you take a look at the bouquet on the table, you know, you get a hit of joy. You're like, wow, I got that for myself because I'm worth it, baby, you know. And then, and actually this really works because years ago, I said, you know what, I haven't gotten flowers in so long. I'm going to get myself some lilies. And so I did. And they were beautiful. And, oh, my gosh, the fragrance just fills the house. And less than a week later, I am not kidding you, someone sent me flowers.
Bravo.
I'm feeling thoughtful right now. It blew my mind. But this stuff works. It's like you're messaging the universe, I'm ready to receive beautiful flowers.
I mean, it's
you know?
And it's energy. You send that energy out, you receive it. That's true.
Exactly.
Yeah, I used to do the same thing. I would actually pick a day like a month ahead and order the flowers, and I would have them sent to me, and it would say, I love you, you're amazing, you're important, you're special, or whatever the heck I decided to say on it.
This is your flower.
And I would say, I love me. And literally, because I would forget, like, the actual day that it was supposed to be coming, it would be a surprise. And then it would be, like, a reminder, like, yeah, I am pretty awesome.
That is brilliant. That is brilliant. I'm so happy that you said that.
Berries.
Ooh, or together with flowers.
Oh, yeah.
That is what I am talking about. Absolutely. Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, self-care. And when we begin to really tune into our authentic selves and kind of figure out what it is that makes us happy. Have you guys ever heard of that wonderful book, The 5 Languages of Love?
Yes, I have. Read that. Actually made the kids read it when they turned teenagers.
Oh, see, now this is a great resource because whether you're in relationship right now with someone else or yourself, this is a great tool because it categorizes the sequence, if you will, and the priority of what really fills up your bucket of love, the expression of love. So I think it goes something like, let's see, quality time, touch, words of praise, gifts of appreciation, and there's one more.
Words of affirmation?
Touch. Yeah, words of praise, quality time. Quality time, touch, words of praise, gifts. Oh, sacred service.
Oh, yes, okay.
Sacred service. And it's really cool if you're in relationship with someone. Really, definitely, I recommend this talk because also there have been relationships where I've heard, let's say the lady say, I don't understand it. Every Sunday he gets up, he goes out, he gets my car washed, he fills it with gas, he changes the oil, and I'm like, where is he? I want him here. And he's thinking, I'm doing sacred service for my lady. This is his expression of love, but she's not feeling it because that's not one of her top priorities. So it's kind of like getting to know each other and seeing how the compromise can work out, how you can, maybe quality time is hers and she wanted to have like a long brunch with him instead. So that's a great conversation for people to have so they know how to actually express their love so that the other person receives it, feels it.
And what I like about it, too, is it helps you understand what your love language is so you know how you are as well, which is really important again.
Yes, brilliant again, absolutely. Because many of us don't know.
Right. And that's the thing is, like, it's not like it's your fault, and it's not like you're not smart and that's why you don't know. It's just because we've been told so many things for so long and we've been led to believe them if it's programmed in our heads over and over and over and over and over again.
Absolutely. This is exactly it. We have been domesticated, as it were, and it's the best that our elders could do. It's what they grew up with. I'm not placing any blame. I'm just saying that we, unfortunately or fortunately, agree to some of the silliest things. You know,
right.
If you say them out loud, you're like, why is it that I behave in this way? Why? You know, because it was an unspoken agreement that we just went along with because that was what we were taught by school, church, family, whatever. And it's up to us to unwrap the gift of who we really are and how we really want to behave in the world and what we want and how we express ourselves. That's true freedom.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like literally reading through all the lines and figuring out what your own truth is.
Yeah.
And that's not easy. It's not easy. What is it that I saw the other day? Brilliant meme, and it said, if you think you're enlightened, go visit your family.
That's a good test right there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
Family, we love them, and then there's all of this wonder and mystery about how is it that one person can make me feel like this within 30 seconds, you know. And yet every time I go home, I learn more about myself, you know, and I'm beginning to turn the page and go, wow, oh, that's right. This was an agreement from a long time ago. So now I have the option when I see this agreement between my original tribe people, do I still agree? You know, it's up for grabs. This is what we don't understand. We've had a narrative kind of written for us about who we are in the world by the time, you know, we're adolescents. We're someone's sister, maybe brother. We're someone's, you know, caretaker. Oh, she's the funny one, or that's the smart one, you know. And there's no harm or blame. I'm not trying to blame anyone. This is how we do. We're human. But eventually we get to pull up all of those agreements and ask ourselves, is this still true for me? Does this serve me on the highest level for myself? And we can rewrite the narrative. That's what freedom is about, is recreating your life, inventing the person that you really are from fresh eyes and letting go of those old agreements. It's beautiful and it's kind of tricky.
Yes, absolutely. So can you tell us about the way you heal? You've mentioned one way. What are the other ways that are, you know, present also healing of your emotional body? How a person can approach that if they're struggling? What else do you provide as your service?
Well, I hold a space with the Intra-Dimensional Web Working. I do not work alone. I work with guides. And I also hold dimensional presence, and I also have dimensional virtues. So what all these words mean, very difficult to describe, but I will try. So I'm able, through the grace of the client and all of my guides, and I work with angels as well, we are able to hold open a space and location where spontaneous healing can occur. This is basically going a step above physical law. So let's say there's someone I go to Palma de Mallorca once a year, and I do healings and teachings there. If somebody needs me, they will pick up the phone, and we will make a phone conversation. They will actually have physical changes in their body due to our phone conversation. And there is no such place as far away because we are all connected on the web. And when they are able to receive, this is the point, okay? When they are able to be open to receive this and they say yes to the healing, then we can do a lot. And it's basically moving energy and having them reveal and claim their perspective and part in the original cause of origination is what we say. Sometimes you need to find the cause, the origination. Sometimes it's in the spiritual body. Sometimes it's in the emotional. Sometimes it's in both. If we can go to that place and ask them, what I'll do is I'll see it. I'll say, this is what I'm seeing. Do you claim this? Is this something that is yours? And if it is, it will resonate, again, like a piece of music through them. It's almost like you're touching a harp and you're ringing a note, and that person will say, yes, that's mine. I know that. That's what it is. And they are on board. So they're very much participatory in the healing. And then we're able to go in and ask them, would you like this to be, healed? And yes, I do. So then we'll go ahead and we'll actually move the energy off. There may be something the client has to repeat. There may be, if it's a vow, sometimes right around the throat chakra, there will be a lot of energy stopped up, and it may be a vow. Let's say that they have said in the past, words have power, okay? Our words create. They're like cells. Okay, so at one point, perhaps this person said, vows usually go something like this: I will never love again, or I will always protect myself, whatever.
Right.
And so it is, right? Because we're creators. So, of course, they don't remember saying this, and they don't understand why they can't fall in love. They don't understand why it's hard for people to get into their hearts. But I'm looking at this huge shield, with their monogram on it right now. So
and they don't know why.
I'll be like, hey, about that armor you're wearing. How's it working for you? And they'll be like, oh, my God, that's how I feel. I feel like my chest is always so tight and it's cold, and I just feel like I'm not being loved, and I can't love. And then I'll say, okay, how about we pull this up? Does this vow sound familiar? And a lot of times, out of their unconscious mind, they'll actually remember saying that. But sometimes they won't. But I'll offer it to them, because it's always their choice, by the way. They get all these choices, right?
Right.
Would you want the armor to stay there? Because absolutely it served you thus far. I don't have anything against the armor. But for what this client is saying, it's becoming a nuisance. So we could either A, take it away, B, make it smaller and more flexible, right? Sometimes you don't want to just strip someone's armor away. That might leave them too vulnerable. So we'll work it out between the client and I, what's most appropriate for their healing at that evolutionary point in their life. And that's what we'll do. And immediately, a lot of times, the client will say, oh, my gosh, I feel like a tingling, or I feel warmth, or I feel something, And then little by lot, they will continue on the path of reclaiming that vow. Okay, I'll have them reclaim the vow, and then they can choose to, quote unquote, disavow, or they can choose to say, I now make that vow null and void. Okay, and a lot of my work is waste management, because believe me, words create energy, and energy has to be taken care of. Right.
And people have been putting out years and years and years of energy.
That's why those that evolve tend to not speak too much. They would speak as for audience, but not in everyday life. And that's what I've noticed.
Well, I think it's just important to make sure that the words that you do use are purposeful.
Right, but words,
and you're mindful when you do use your words.
But words
obviously
are also limited, And that's
they are. But unfortunately, it's how we communicate.
Right, absolutely.
We all hope to be purposeful, and we all hope to have good intent with our words. And it's important also to realize that human beings do say things they don't mean, or sometimes they say things that have absolutely nothing to do with you. And they're really talking about themselves most of the time, particularly if it's something negative or they're angry. And one of the things that's so difficult for us, and I'm still learning this today, but it makes life so much easier, is to not take everything so personally.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah,
half the time when people say things,
they're really
from
not themselves. Yeah.
Exactly.
Everyone speaks from the past.
Exactly.
From their own perception.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I like to say thank you to everything, every opinion about me. I just thank someone, and it really, it's so healing. It's like, wow, you really wanted to wear that hat today? Thank you. Yes, I did.
It looks horrible. Oh, thank you for that too. I love it.
Thank you. Isn't it the ugliest thing you've ever seen? I love this hat for that.
If it's ugly, that's not going to take it from me.
Thank you for giving me your honest opinion.
Exactly. I love it, and I have another one too, but I'm going to keep it to myself.
I know. Okay. Well, we have to go to another commercial break, so we're going to put you on hold for a few minutes if we can have you just for a little bit more time.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back.
Hi, everyone. This is the Rose Colombo. Be sure to tune in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10:30 to noon Pacific Daylight Time and 1:30 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Justice Club on Freedomizer Radio. Grab a snack, grab a latte, grab a friend, or grab a stranger. I've been on the front lines for 25 years, and I've been labeled as the crusader for equal rights by the media many times. So join my crusade on the Justice Club at Freedomizer Radio every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10:30 to noon Pacific Daylight Time and 1:30 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Did you see this? The EPA wants to regulate water in our ditches now. Our ditches are dry most of the time. There's hardly ever any water in them. That's enough.
Is dry on my farm today, not a puddle anywhere. There's no water flowing, but the government doesn't care. Once more the EPA is knocking at our door. With a brand new rule, they want to regulate us more. They've tried before and we said no. Why should they control what doesn't flow? Agriculture's safe, that's what they say. It's what they always say. That's enough, that's enough. Can't take away anymore. That's enough, that's enough. The EPA and the Corps, they will try to justify, but we won't back down. Don't need more government anyway. That's enough, that's enough. No more power play. That's enough, that's enough. We won't back away. What can we do to ditch the rule? Tell the EPA. Don't need more government anyway.
Tell the EPA it's time to ditch the rule. Ditchtherule.fb.org. This is a message from the Missouri Farm Bureau. Contact them at 573-893-1558.
Want to spread awareness to your neighbors, family, and friends about what is going on in our country today? It may be things you already know, like the large number of FEMA camps spread around this country to lock up citizens like you and me. What legislators are doing to strip states and people of their sovereign rights. or legislation giving states the power to force vaccinate under a declared state of emergency. Do your neighbors understand what is going on? William Lewis Films offers the perfect tools to inform our population about this government's tyrannical shift from a constitutional republic to a despotic democracy. Films like 911 Ripple Effect, Beyond Treason, One Nation Under Siege, Washington You're Fired, Camp FEMA, Enemy of the State, Don't Tread on Me, Blood of Patriots, The Ron Paul Uprising, even 911 in Plain Sight, William's first production, are all available at WilliamLewisFilms.com. Get your DVDs today at WilliamLewisFilms.com. Educate against the police state.
How would you like to make your work more enjoyable, be more creative and relaxed, all while sitting at your desk? That's exactly what my Serenity Rug has done for me. This revolutionary footrest, I can't even call it a footrest, because this thing encourages movement of your feet, which results in more blood flow. While traditional footrests advocate the motionless placement of your feet, I found that I'm unconsciously digging my feet into the long, soft grass strands of the Serenity Rug. It delivers an incredibly relaxing sensation that closely resembles the feeling of an exotic foot massage. If you have ever had a foot massage that made you want to stay there for hours, you know what I'm talking about. If you have not heard about the Serenity Rug, check them out at serenityrug.com and join the exclusive Serenity Rug community and enjoy a feeling of comfort and relaxation that most will never experience. They've sold out before, so I suggest you do your feet a favor and grab one of these. Again, that's serenityrug.com.
There are a lot of problems with Common Core. I don't even have time to go into most of them, but a step in the right direction would be to give local communities, teachers, parents control over their schools so they can design curriculums and standards to best meet the needs of their students and get the federal government out of education.
Got a spare tire around that waist? Is your muffin top over the top? Do you binge eat uncontrollably? We are the government and we are here to help you. Here at our free FEMA weight loss camp, we have numerous ways to help you shed those unsightly, unwanted pounds. FEMA, or Fatties Eating Mitigated, automatically has a communist-style weight loss czar that specializes in centralized weight loss planning and communal extended fasting programs to shed that fat away in no time. Skin and boned means extra toned is the motto. Just remember, there is no way you can do it on your own. We will forcefully assist you into compliance. Failure is not an option in this utopian wonderland. How fantastic. Typical workout regimes include digging ditches and restocking them with dirt, building railways and more. Get life skills while you get lean. How do you join? Simple. Recite the Constitution in a public commons or violate the Patriot Act that includes simple misdemeanors. It's really that easy to get your own fenced-in slice of Americana. Stop being a fatty. The state is your daddy.
Okay, we're back from break. Thanks again for listening to a word from our sponsors. We're going to get Cherie back on. Hello, are you there?
I am
Cherie,
here. How are you?
Hello.
Yes.
We're back.
Okay, good.
All right.
It's
We're
magic.
back on. Yes. So let's continue talking about our fun topic of all the connections and relationships that exist in our existence. And Cherie, could you please tell us what is coming up on your calendar as far as your workshops and everything?
This June I'm actually going to Palma de Mallorca, which is one of the Balearic Islands right off of Spain, and I'm teaching a 10-day intensive advanced workshop. It's called Intra-Dimensional Web Working series. And it's where I'm actually, these are for people who have already taken the prerequisite class, and it's actually teaching the ancient healing technique that I am able to practice. So it's about repairing the webbing and being able to psychically and spiritually actually perform, if you will, surgery on the person's subtle bodies, and it brings healing to all of their dimensional bodies. In other words, through the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual realms. So they're getting not just one healing, but a healing wherever they exist in all the dimensions.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. I'm also leading a workshop in interspecies communication. So if you ever talk to a plant, believe me, they can hear you.
Yeah. Right.
That's what we're doing.
Okay.
Yeah, that workshop is called Return to the Enchanted Garden, and it's about actually honoring plant life as sentient beings.
Yeah, that's beautiful. The best thing is to actually connect energetically to nature. It's very easy. Much easier.
Yes, yes, that's what this is all about.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. So, what other points would you like to bring up in regard to healing the wounded? I guess the wounded self. Pretty much, wounded self.
I want to talk about the client who is actually in great despair and feels quite unlovable. And when we feel unlovable, it's a separation from God, and which is actually hell, right? So when we separate ourselves in this way, then everything is dark and dreary, and we tend to actually attract despair. It's unfortunate, but it happens. And if it goes on long enough, we begin to believe the diatribe going on in our minds about how we're unworthy. Oh yeah, this happened. That's because you're unlovable and you're stupid. Some of us have this mechanism in our mind, and it's like a parasite, and it's very detrimental. It separates us from ourselves, from God, from everyone. So to this person, let's say, for whatever reason, but then they end up, let's say a friend tells them about me, and they come and they get a session with me, and I'm like, what's up? And let's just speak to that. And so I look at them, and they tell me that they're in despair and they're unlovable, and love never turns out for them. They've tried over and over again. Nothing works. And I'm looking, and I'm looking, and I'm looking, and I'm listening, and I'm deeply listening, and I realize that they actually have an overcast of someone else's wedding on theirs. So then I start asking, well, the things that are going on in your life, what do you think is this caused by your behavior? And the person could say, well, I am short-tempered, and I have so much, I don't know where it comes from. And they always say that. I don't know where it comes from, but I'm angry. So then I'm able, with their permission, actually, to say, I think I see in your past a father, and in this case, I'm looking at someone. I'm actually looking at someone. I don't know who they are, and it's a stepfather. But they were raised with them through their adolescence, and the stepfather had anger issues, and so the child unconsciously, at one point, decided he was going to try to take responsibility and heal that. So he actually took it on to his own consciousness. Then he goes out into the world, and he's completely forgotten, of course, that he brought this to himself through an innocent intention of healing this stepfather. Right. But now he's perpetrating the same destiny, it seems, that his stepfather did. And so he feels defeated already. And so I say, whose anger is this? and we start isolating it. And I start telling him what I see, and I say, this is not your anger, by the way. This is not you. This is like you've put on this overcoat, and you're actually letting other, or you can, this is also what happens, you allow other people's energy in, and now you're actually the surrogate of the energy, and you're letting them use your nervous body, which is painful, by the way. And you don't have to do it anymore. You don't have to be the sewage treatment plant for your family. And there are these things that come up where people actually live to be, 30 years old. They don't understand why they're always so angry, because it's not their anger. They have been allowing other people to give them their anger, and they synthesize it for them. So then the family can turn on them and go, "You're always angry. You're the one. You've got the problem."
Okay.
So,
well, but do you? But
so
do you think?
Have to,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I so want your question.
Well, but what do you think when the person recognizes that's kind of what happened? Does it immediately, pretty much because he's facing the fact, so that fact pretty much is not part of his life. It's not his. He recognized that and it falls apart, right?
Right.
It falls away.
This is a very good question. This is an excellent question. This is exactly the good question, because then what happens? Just because they look at it, does it go away? So the next step is I would say to them, so this is what's going on. Are you okay with that? See, awareness is it. Because then you could say, well, yeah, I'm kind of used to it. I'll keep it. Or, most often, he'll say, no, I'm not okay with it. I don't want this anymore. So the power of his words, right? He's now disclaimed it. So there's a lot of power in that, and we're working with him, and so we can move the energy off of him. Now, of course, he's been doing this for so long, it's going to take him practice as he goes out into the world, not to continue to synthesize other people's emotions, to hold his own boundary, to constantly be checking in and saying, okay, on a scale from 1 to 10, how much of this anger is mine? And then get an actual reading on it. Oh, I'm only at a 3. I'm good. I'm not going to carry other people's anger anymore. And we actually work with mantras, or if you will, affirmations, where they can repeat to themselves, I am the authority of my entire body. I say what goes. And I know that sounds simplistic, but I'll tell you what, it's a building block that shifts the energy and changes people's lives. I am the authority of my body. And
because you're communicating. You're communicating to your body, to yourself, to cells of every, atom you have in your body. So, and you're right. It does take sometimes practicing by creating a different pattern, positive pattern for yourself, right?
Exactly. It takes practice, and it's beginning, and then we can move it. We usually will remove as much of the energy that's on them, and they have a relief. So then they have that aha moment. They're able to breathe a little bit, and that helps give them momentum, to say, oh my gosh, I feel like an anvil just came off of my head, They like that, I didn't know I could feel this way. So of course, that gives them incentive to continue the protocol of saying, oh, wait, I know I used to get so angry, but this isn't mine. I can put it down. I can be angry on my own. And then beginning to understand what it feels like to have just your own anger, and just your own happiness. How about that?
Right.
Trying happiness songs or something. It's uncomfortable when you haven't gotten around to it for a while, and so it becomes this evolution of learning who they are and how they are in the world through their emotional bodies all over again.
And that all comes back to what we talked about pretty much this whole time, is knowing self.
Right.
Coming back to self.
Knowing self, exactly. And infinite exploration, and being able to separate our energetics from other people's is huge, because we're just swimming together all the time. And of course, if you're any kind of empathetic being, which both of you are, then it's going to be a real deal to stay psychically clean, to kind of practice, keeping clean and realizing it's okay to feel for someone. It's not okay to take on their illness, because that's not going to help them. It's not going to help you. But we do this. And we do this in relationship too, by the way.
Right.
That happens.
Oh yeah, I'm very familiar with that.
Right, and I believe from energetic standpoint, when you leave that relationship, you still hold on to that energetic problem, and that creates more. It's dragging longer, and it creates more wounds in your body and your emotions, everything.
That is the truth, and this also goes back to the spiritual energetic validation of, you might have broken up with somebody, but you could still have them be hooked up to your power system, and they can still, you're still
continue to train you.
Yes. So it's important to have someone who is able, or yourself, to even have a little ritual, maybe, where you get a little box and you take some things they might have given you and you bury them and you say a few words. I recommend this, because anytime that we have an emotional connection like that, having a physical ritual really assists us in disconnecting with the person. Really assists us when we see our hands doing our soul's work. It really makes it easier for us to let them go.
Right.
Well, imagine going through all the relationships and keeping something from each relationship that is not necessarily of a benefit.
Right.
So, pick it up more and more. Yeah. So you got to cleanse. In every way.
Yes. Good point. If we did that, holy moly.
I know.
Lots of flowers.
And of course,
how wonderful everyone would be.
Yeah, we gotta cleanse after each ceremony, after each connection, and embrace the next one with open mind.
Exactly. Without bringing the garbage from the last one.
The other thing is, I think in our society we don't have really a very good model for a relationship that comes to an end without anger or blame. Sometimes relationships have just had their lifetime, and then you just need to stay so long. It doesn't have to be a huge drama, or someone's right or someone's wrong. However, unfortunately, our past and what we see around us in models for us. So somebody had to be wrong, and then somebody had to slam a door, and then someone had to, block their phone. And that doesn't always have to be the case. And I invite people to understand that relationships are like seasons. People come to us when we need them. And then sometimes we move on and we may reconnect. Who knows?
Right. And I think it's important, again, to realize that once your vibration changes, you start to attract new people, and the people that are in your life sometimes don't stay. They have to go because they're not going in the same direction you are.
There's no connection anymore, on energetic.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. And when your frequency changes like this, believe it or not, it's not only uncomfortable for you, it's uncomfortable for them. Because, it's like having two dissonant notes in the same room. And again, it doesn't mean that this person is,